The sickly sweet scent wafting in from the nursery has kept me awake through most of the night. It's intoxicating and nauseating in equal parts. The body has yet to be disposed of, mostly my fault. I have too much to take into account before I rush to a decision. Though perhaps this whole ordeal is being made complex by my sleep-addled brain. I can't be bothered to rise from the bed, even with the sun. What little there seems to be today peeks through the curtains. I don't want to handle any of it. Not Hannah's body, not the security, not Kylie visiting. Right now all I want to do is actually get some sleep. Still, the thought of that woman from yesterday and the danger that she presented was enough to keep me from even trying. So sufficient to say, I'm not very happy that anyone would dare to separate me from my true love, the bed. The rain that has started some time during the night didn't help the mood. Okay, maybe it helps just a little. The strange sunny weather has been nice and all, but for it to return, as it should be, feels like a good sign of things to come. Perhaps things will settle back to normal, and the crazy drama that has gone on lately will die down. The rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain fills the early morning silence with a steady beat. Thank goodness I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry today. I would hate to be caught unawares in the rain. With how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days it has given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. It does let up within the quarter of an hour, however. A day beginning with cloudbursts like this, locals usually take it as an immediate sign. Luxbourne's abysmal weather is back, likely for good. There's this rubbish about how the heavens cry with you through the rain. If anyone's sentimental enough to know of what I've done, they'll probably spout this stupid thought my way. Well, I think it's a load of bull. Hannah would roll in her grave at the thought that the heavens made it rain for her. She was never one for the dreary weather. Always enjoyed the scarce sunshine on rare sunny days. She had been loving the abnormally sunny week thus far. If only things had not come to this. But it is already far too late to regret anything, and thankfully somebody interrupts before I can start brooding on what it is. Perhaps the only time I can appreciate the man's insufferable prying.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
What do you want?
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered? Truly? Not even the slightest bit worried?
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it? My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
The detached manner in which he admits this annoys me to no end.
Oh, as a matter of fact, it is your life in danger. Because if I find you lacking, if that woman finds their way anywhere near me again, you'll be following in the footsteps of your predecessor. Are we clear? Do what you have to. In fact, it'd be best if you keep busy. Do what needs to be done, and if I see you even idling for 1 second, I won't be happy.
He doesn't say anything. There's no witty retort. It isn't a threat, but a promise, after all. I don't take kindly to incompetence, especially when it comes to affairs that affect my very safety. I will kill if it ensures that I live.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on edge. Information, any at all, may very well help me in calming down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing, then? Fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for? Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Huh. Though I'll deny it, if I do find myself a tiny bit interested.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
Ever consider she might be putting her paycheck to good use? Probably someone out there getting drunk, having a shag. Ugh, and I envy her for it. As long as she's here for work, what and who she does in her free time is her business.
Hell, maybe she's found another client to sleep with. I'll commend her if that is the case. It's a good way as any to make connections and get business. Oh God, okay. No thank you. I would be a hypocrite and a liar if I said I didn't get some of my business that way. Oh, okay. Scratches the itch, too. Ugh.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either.
She's in your wine cellar.
Mr. Parker will be filing a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Okay, interesting as all this is, why bring this to my attention? If we've lost an interior designer, just find someone else to take her place.
If I knew that letting Hana hire her would bring so much trouble, I would have stopped it at just the sex.
The last anyone has seen of her was here, the morning of the party. Your housewarming party.
That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this, and to suspect.
They are not welcome in this home. Oh, I guess that's the ghost. The niggling voice... Niggling? That's a word. I've never heard that word before. The niggling voice in the back of my head starts loudly, though its presence is both unwanted and unnecessary.
If they come to investigate her disappearance, you need to make a decision. What will we be doing with the madam?
Because if they come to investigate her disappearance, well, we don't want them snooping about the house. Not until dearest Hana is taken care of, because I'm the fool who can't let her go. It's ridiculous that I'm so sentimental about something that amounts to nothing more than rotting meat. As it is, the body is still decomposing on the inside, internal organs being the first to go. If anybody found her, they might still think that she was only sleeping. First signs of flies and maggots side, anyway. It'd be less than 48 hours, but it'd give a day or two, and the thing will only get worse. My bedroom already smells like rotting fruit. The scent is faint and lingering. Its presence, even with all that Johannes has done to decomentate the place without touching the body itself.
Leave it for tonight. I'll think of something by then. Until then, I want you on top of everything. Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
Where are you?
Well, there goes plans for grabbing some shut-eye. Rolling over on my stomach, I can only scream into my pillow.
Of course, of course. Ugh!
Did you stub your toe again? Tia said you should always use your indoor voice when you have visitors.
Screw what Hana said. She's dead now. Oh, Jesus. That's so brutal. It's the truth, but Jesus. I nearly did, really. It's hard to remember something as trivial as an ordinary playdate when there's murder fresh on one's mind. But there's this instinct, long ingrained, to act as if everything is normal despite the blood on my hands. Else I would have spiraled out of control a long time ago and things wouldn't be as good as they are now. Besides, she's a bright child, tolerable. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders and can get pretty mature for her age at times. Of course, they have to thank me for that. Her parents take partial credit, but Hana and I have been there for the kid since she was just a small babe. My darling Hana loved her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter, but she can just keep her interest along with the wife. But she just can't keep her interest along with the wife. It's not something that Hana does wrong on her part. She does try so very, very hard, and that she doesn't quite know how to really handle children. She's never been around other children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults who catered to her every whim and worried for her safety every minute. When she wasn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct was to be strict, impose rules on the child, treat her as if she were made of spun glass, like every movement might break her. I, at least, have some idea from being around street kids. I know the games they've played and how they think. I know the scrapes and skinned knees are a part of childhood, even with how I grew up. I had some time to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. With Kylie, as behaved as she can be, with her toys and her books and her arts, she has to use up all her energy somehow. To run around in the playground and make a mess in the mud, or even just fake wrestle for a short while. Let her be a child when she wants, I say. If it becomes too much, just bribe her with some sweets or ship her back to her papa. Problem solved. Unfortunately, Hana wasn't quite up for those sort of things most of the time, thinking it'll spoil the child. It turned a whole playdate awkward every time. Taking the last seat to the left, I plunk one of her coloring books from the table and see it filled with dinosaurs. Not exactly what I expect to see of a little girl, but doesn't hurt anyone. She talks of Miss Pink, and I have to shift my legs to become comfortable once more, the memory of my initial meeting with her still fresh in my mind. She talks of the sad man in the park, and her new friend who likes to play hide-and-seek when she's not sniffing in the loo.
Tio, where is Tia? She's still sleeping in bed again? Is she gonna join us later?
I'll be lying if I say I'm not worried about going on with this line of questioning. Honestly, I'm not expecting her to ask about her godmother. For all that Hana was her actual godparent, she isn't as fond of her as she is of me. For a moment, paranoia fills my mind. It's suspicious of her to ask about a dead woman for no reason. I do realize this is ridiculous, to think a child is a threat to me. Her father might be putting her up to it, to find dirt on me, my mind supplies. I'm not too delusional to think that the people working under me are actually loyal to any extent. I can't stop myself from being defensive.
What do you care? You've never asked for her before.
Mama's been asking about her. She hasn't visited for a while.
There's a shrug, and some sense of her to her words. If that doesn't relieve some of the tension from me, nothing else will.
I don't know where she is, Munchkin. She's probably off somewhere doing grown-up things.
That makes sense. Tia does a lot of boring grown-up stuff. There's always a boring grown-up parties. You must be happy you're not doing a boring grown-up thing right now, thanks to me.
Hey, I'm doing a grown-up thing. I'm taking care of you, aren't I, you little rugrat?
I'm still on edge, but it's easy enough to put on a carefree mask once I get a grip of myself. The roll of her eyes and the way she looks at my doodles in a false, serious manner helps it too.
Oh, your drawing doesn't look grown-up to me.
Nevertheless, like any child her age, the line of questioning doesn't exactly stop.
Is Tia still asleep? I want to give her this pretty drawing I made for her.
And I know that they can't help it. They don't know where to cross the line out of genuine and innocent curiosity. Yet that doesn't stop me from snapping.
Tia isn't here, all right?
So where is Tia?
She's not anywhere that I know of. Probably at another party, shaking hands and all that.
But she's coming home soon at least, right, Tio?
Enough, you little brat. Can we just...
I don't know where Hana is. That's the official excuse for when her disappearance is looked into. Oh, she looks horrified. It's easier to claim ignorance, to have a lack of liability if foul play is ever suspected. There would be no mens rea or acte reus if I spin the whole affair and make myself the clueless bystander. It'll be easier to maintain the story if I remove myself from it, whichever way we choose to deal with this mess. But I've been blindsided by this interrogant of a child. Whispers in my ear comprise. Silence her. Oh, Jesus. End her. I have to shake my head to clear away thoughts. She doesn't deserve my anger for such innocent questions. Because this is just a kid. This is Kylie, for fuck's sake. I don't need to silence her. I had to.
Let's just have fun, all right? I'm so sorry, Kylie. Please don't cry. I didn't mean to.
I raised both my hands in a non-threatening manner, trying to placate her, only for her to take a step away, wide-eyed and terrified. This look on her face just crushes something in me. She doesn't let me say anything more than that before she runs away crying about wanting to call her father, about wanting to go home. Her crayons and toys lay strewn about, forgotten. Even Narcissa is left behind. She never leaves her doll behind if she can help it, and now it's looking at me accusing. I've never shouted at her before. I had no right to. And even if I want to deny it, some part of me was about to raise my hand to her, when I promised a long time ago that I would never harm a child. Miss Pink was wrong about me, it looks like. I'm a horrible guardian. I'm not good with kids at all. Or good, period. I can't just help this awful energy that's taken over me. I feel so angry and tense and...
Ah, Sisa, what is wrong with me? Am I going mad?
With Hana gone and his butler intentionally staying out of sight, Luke was left to watch over his godchild, Kylie Suarez. However, what was supposed to be a simple babysitting turned awkward when the precious child began asking questions. I don't think I can spend any more time with Kylie considering how high-strung I feel. So it is a good thing that Suarez came for her as soon as I've called. Though it is earlier than the agreed-upon time, he voices no complaint. The bastard even has a look of relief as soon as they have left. Or at least, I interpret it as such, where I stood by one of the windows, not bothering to step out and greet the man. No doubt he still doesn't trust me around his spawn. Well, he has every right to be suspicious of me. I am a dangerous man, after all. But to my Chargan, that leaves me with the rest of the day with nothing to do. She nearly drops her tray as she enters her lady's bedchambers. The lady is being taken against the wall like a common street whore. The man is not her lord, her prince. She is not of a station that will allow her to judge. That doesn't keep the shock from her features or from her voice.
Milady, I brought the My apologies!
Her voice is small, subdued, and shy, though the lady needs no words to express her displeasure as her face turns from one of pleasure into of anger and accusation. Her glare burns, focused and scalding. If looks could murder, the servant girl would be dead where she stands. All the while her lover still moves in and out of her, either unaware of their audience or enjoying the act even more because of it. My heart feels like is seizing in my chest, like it's being squeezed and the pressure won't stop until it bursts.
Are you truly storming off over some hearsay? Be sensible!
What you did, it is... There are no words. You bring disgrace to this family. This rotten noble standing in front of me is not the cousin I grew up with. This is not the lady I fell in love with. She would never do such unspeakable things, Charlotte!
I bring disgrace. I bring disgrace? I am not the idiot who's running off in the middle of the night. You promised, Edward. You gave me your word. Don't you dare turn your back on me. I swear to you, if you step 1 foot out of these lands, mark my words, Edward, I will.
What? What is it you swear? Will your men steal me away, defile me too, like what you did to yourself?
There is an undercurrent of fear, I'm in danger, my head screams at me. And there is hurt, deep burning shame I can feel on the woman's behalf. Looking at her, it's a chore I cannot bear. Whispers and accusations fly every crevice in my mind, ringing and echoing around like a terrible case of tetanitis. They stare, gazes filled with judgment and disgust. Even before their beloved lady has spoken, she's already condemned.
This horrid woman! I beg the court for justice! Who knows what this devil's bride is capable of? She has already bewitched my love, my betrothed. I just cannot bear to think of what she has done to him after. Or what else she may do to our people if we let her live. Blood taints this woman's hands, and I deserve to be repaid in kind for that which she has taken from me.
There's nothing to her but death, and she knows this. Her silence says as much. One after the other, they come at me, an unending flood that threatens to sweep me away from what feels like an eternity. Each one a show of both joy and suffering for those who have called their mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it open in two. I can feel every little emotion in the blurry images that present itself in my head. I feel like a part of these, like I've lived through them, though I know that it's not possible. All their anger burns through me. That much is evident, but the pain is more so. And above it all are the whispers, the voices calling, luring, until one image emerges in vivid contrast with the others. When there's a shout of joy, my eyes snap open, looking for the culprit. That is when the whole room just changes. Everything is the same, yet everything isn't. There's horrid feeling of envy. And though I have long accepted that I am a jealous person by nature, I have never felt such a strong feeling of envy as I have now. They were happy with each other, these people, but Hana and I. Envy turned into anger. Anger for something I could not have. But I have the feeling that yelling and screaming at them won't do much of anything anyway. Not that none of the others have given me notice. I realize that this might not even be real. It dawns on me that these two are the people from the paintings, the ones all over the mansion. Which makes sense. I don't think I'm imaginative enough to make all these up in my own. This must be a dream. Or a really horrible high.
You are one of us, my lord. We are bonded by the blood we've shed.
Shed and not shared, okay. If I thought the voices were overwhelming before, it's nothing compared to how they are now. Their voices are loud, speaking in unison and echoing even on in the spaces of my head. They welcome me back, as if I've always belonged, as if I was meant to be here in the first place. They call me all these titles and names that do not belong to me, and that man's face, the one with the empty eyes, flashes again before me. Once fleeting, like a new memory having burned itself in my mind. I have to struggle for air and come back to myself after.
I'm not. This isn't.
The welcomes turn into screams, and my protest, pained and desperate pleas for my help, telling me that it is my duty to stay, telling me that I belong among them, to them. Gentle touches turn near threatening, the warning scratches, and the bare baring of teeth by predators before they truly maim someone. My mouth goes dry as I struggle to speak some sense into this hallucinatory madness, but I don't get the chance as they drown out my voice.
Our lord, my prince.
At her words, there is a compulsion to stay. Though my heart races in my chest, the fear I should be experiencing refuses to register in my head. Mind and body war with each other, nearly tearing me in two. The compulsion to walk into her arms is strong. Whispers in my head tell me to go to her. They say that she is safety. She is home and heart. But repulsed at these thoughts, I wrench away and turn with a small gasp. Without hesitation, I start to make a run for it. I nearly falter when an angry shriek pierces the air, inhumane and monstrous. Alone, Luke heard voices coming from the nearby ballroom. When he decided to investigate, he was assaulted by memories not of his own. And at the center of it all is the same woman who appeared before him the day before. Only much worse. Breathing a momentary sigh of relief, I sit down on the bed while the other man looks out into the balcony and closes the door behind him.
The balcony is clear.
And he's thorough, looking into the closets and under the bed, even going so far as to look into the nursery. But it is with that he comes back silent. Johann's eyes scan the room warily, searching to see if he missed something.
What have you done with the madam?
Shit.
What do you mean?
The body. It isn't there.
What? Last I checked, it's still there. It's not like anybody knows where the fucking body is. Did it just stand up and walk away? Got tired of being dead and decided to unkill itself?
Yes. It isn't there. That must mean it's somewhere else. And the house is crawling with guards. None of who knew that Hana is already dead. I feel the color drain from my face. Before I can take a step out, he raises a hand to stop me from charging out there.
Stay.
Stay? Do you see the problem we have here, Shroken? Are your eyes open, Shroken? Do you see the problem we're having here, Shroken?
With my own eyes.
What the bloody fuck are you still doing there, then? Hana's corpse. A corpse is missing. If anyone else finds that bloody body, we are going to have an even bigger problem than Suarez's company leak.
Which is why I'm asking you to calm down. This isn't...
You do not understand, do you? Okay, everything is at stake here.
I feel like I shouldn't even be in the room right now. I feel like I'm in the room and I shouldn't even be there just hearing them bicker. Oh my god. Money, reputation, connections, the company I've built. Everything. Jesus, okay. There's no second thought as I reach under my side of the bed and I pull out one of my knives. How many do you have under there? I have no doubt that the other man can take me on if we were both unarmed. But with this, I can even in the field. Chill. You need to chill. Or at least deter him from escalating the situation and risking hurting either of us.
I'm going out there to look for that damn fucking body, and you're either with me or you're fucking fired! I am not risking anything. I am not losing everything.
Still, like a stubborn mule, he refuses to budge from the door. There's a writhing look on him, and I try to match it. One that somehow I am losing fast to, even with him not saying a word yet.
Can you see yourself in the mirror right now? You're in no proper state to go looking for anyone, let alone your wife's dead body. If it will make you happy, I will do the looking. But please, and don't make me repeat this, stay where it's safe, where security can find you. We already have one matter to be worried about. Please don't add another one to it.
Perhaps it is his tone. In spite of his general disdain for virtually everything that he has to do with me, I'd like to think that over the years he has grown some sense of duty to his employer, at least. Much as I loathe to admit this, I trust him over any other servant in this house. So an acquiescence.
You have 2 hours, Shroken. I don't think it'll take that long to find one lifeless fucking corpse in this godforsaken house. 2 hours. Any more than that, I'll do it my fucking self.
Of course.
Man, this guy swears a lot. Then again, so am I. Who am I to judge? Despite his words, he lingers. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he wants to make sure I get in the damn bed and sleep before he turns away from me. What am I, a child? Watching me and treating me like one? There's the reason why we will never get along.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Nothing. I just hope you're happy.
Verily, now mush!
As you wish.
I wonder what he meant by, I hope you're happy. Only then does he seem to get the hint. With a nod, he leaves, locks and closes the door behind him. Shouldn't be closes and locks the door. I mean, you can't lock it without closing it. Bumping into Luke after his flight from the ballroom, Johannes quickly ushered the paranoid man to his room, while the house security looked for the trespasser. Before leaving his master, Johannes scoured the place, only to find that Han's corpse missing from the nursery. For a moment, I still hear his voice, while he gives the guards outside firm instructions, then a hush, as soon as he departs, and his footsteps fade away. One that doesn't quite last. As quickly as the silence settles, lightning flashes across the sky, followed immediately by the loud boom of thunder. And that wanker strikes so dangerously close that I can feel the electricity in the air. The power goes out not a second later, and I feel as if I'm being mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deathly still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than the light drizzle from this morning, its pitter-patter hitting hard against its place's roof. Despite the noise, I find myself drawn onto my bed, exhausted, hoping for a little nap. I'm safe here. Schrocken will find her, and when I wake, I won't have anything to worry about. It does not take long. Once my head hits the pillow, in a matter of minutes, darkness claims me, bringing with it laughters and whispers of a twisted love from a time long ago.
Who are you? Stay away!
Oh, is that... so that's Edward, huh? I can only assume that's him dying. Now, if only this was voiced! Sweet dreams, my love, it'll be over soon. Yet in spite of the unfamiliar voices and unwanted touches from shadows, lurking in the dark, rousing is a slow, arduous process. Difficult. Every limb is heavy with lead. No matter my aversion for the words they murmur in my ears, or the sight of her horrid smile from afar, my body refuses to yield. I am at their mercy. Beyond the fathomable reason, my consciousness refuses the pull of the waking world, choosing to linger in the pits of a dream, gradually drawing me deeper into unknown depths. Somehow, even if it might mean I may never open my eyes, I allow them.
You do not belong there, my love.
Not that I mind getting a few extra hours, of course. The bed's more than comfortable as it is, after an exhausting day yesterday. Babysitting Kylie and the stress of finding an intruder in my home. I think I deserve a little break every once in a while, especially after going through all that in a single day. I can only be the receiving end of so many unexpected things within the span of a few hours, you know? As gracious as a host and person I am, my patience has its limits too. Although there is that problem with Hana, I haven't gotten that, of course. But that's why I hired Schrocken. He's competent enough. He won't even last a day in my service if he's any lesser than those half-wits, who think they can deceive me with their sweet words. He's more than capable of working on his own without guidance. Let the butler take care of the little problem with Hana while I... Hana's body is still missing. Hana is still missing, and the trespasser's still out there.
You do not need her. I am here. We are here. This is where your home is.
Where you belong for all the blood you've shed. Come back to us. How long has it been since? Johans has never taken this long before.
Surely there should have been an update by now, right?
So why isn't there?
Please don't go.
Bloody hell, the cretins I've surrounded myself with.
And it isn't enough reason to force myself out of bed, as it has always been the case. Jesus. My eyes fly open, expecting the warm rays of sunshine filtering through the curtains, only to be greeted by the blinding flash of light and a loud boom of thunder that sounded nearly too close to my ear. Strong gusts of wind will occasionally burst in from the open balcony door, bringing in drizzles of cold rain into the room. Hannah would be cross if she were still here. Not that it's an immediate problem. If anything, it's the power outage we should be minding first. With an intruder still at large, steering through this darkness might be far more fatal than multiple stab wounds or a gunshot through the chest. The delay is understandable if he went looking for Hana as he promised. Bloody hell, my safety is also at stake here. Cursing, I stay still, letting my eyes try to adjust to the darkness while my hands fumble for my slippers. If that butler isn't going to fix this, I may as well order the security posted outside to do it. It's probably just a blown fuse. Anyone with a brain can repair one. Grabbing my jacket and my footwear finally on, I make for the door. Well, though in my haste, I pause briefly when a gleam catches my eye. On one of my drawers, underneath the clutter I have yet to organize, the muzzle of my gun peeks out. Hana has never openly commented my possession of it, but I know she does not approve of it, knowing the bloody firearms policy in the nation. Of course, I've not found much use for it in the 7 years we've been together, otherwise she would have already had it thrown out years ago. Doesn't mean it won't be useful right now.
A photographer, a high school teacher, and a real estate agent walk into a mansion.
Thunder crackles once again, cutting me off. This time, its sound hits close enough that it nearly feels as if the window and the ground itself are rumbling. Luke Wright woke up to a storm raging outside, and with his whole house eerily quiet. Power was still off, and his butler was nowhere to be found, even when called. Taking his gun with him, he went to investigate the foyer of his own home. It's all deathly still for a moment. I don't let it stop me, however, as I slowly make my way towards them, taking one careful step at a time, relishing the expression of fear in their eyes. I suppose there's something ominous in this setting, with heavy rain outside and the lack of light here. The thought of having more dead bodies here, it's already quite too much. It'll literally be overkill, especially for someone like me. Nevertheless, joke or not, Feathers wastes no time drawing his own gun at the sight and wave it at my own, even if he knows it's already too late. Still, he glares at me. Still, he fights back.
Now, Feathers. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
There's no desperation in him like I'm hoping. Just an annoyance flickering shortly before being hidden underneath the challenge. The likes of him are the kind of people I hate the most. Even with their failures already glaring down at them, mocking every worthless move they make, they have the impudence to stare people in the eye.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners?
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Annoying most of the time, like a damn pest you can't be rid of. But to some degree, it is commendable. I'll give him that. After all, we're almost the same in that regard. Almost. I'm still a better person, of course. He tells me to put the gun down, but I see no reason why I should. I'm a homeowner. I'm a homeowner. In defense of my own home, I have the right I'd like to think. Questionable permit of firearms aside. It's not like I wanted this, but I'm already high-strung, and this presence does not help. Bloody peasants. I can never seem to figure out how their minds fully work. And I should have also expected he won't let this end in this kind of standstill.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
A short lapse. It's all it is. One moment of letting my guard down. Before I can react, he fires 2 shots in quick succession. The sound crackling through the empty foyer, almost as loud as the storm raging outside, breaking the tense air in the room. Pain explodes in my wrist, not 2 seconds later. Just a graze, however. It's enough to cause my fingers to tense, and the pistol slides to the floor with a dull thud.
Why, you insolent!
Next moment happened in a blur. The following second, I'm being tackled bodily to the ground by hitting the cold floor hard and an arm pinned down by the neck. There's a fleeting minute of panic and struggle while I try to untangle myself from him before he manages to knock me out. And then, a scream. A wail piercing through the thick air. Shrill and sharp, enough for the both of us to cover our ears and hunker down on our knees. And with each sharp note beating harsh against my head, there are images again. Faces and voices so utterly familiar, seeping into every crevice, turning sinister with each shift. They are not mine, but they might as well be with how vivid and crisp they appear. Over and over they flash behind my eyes until it becomes unbearable. Prodding, throbbing, thudding against my skull, worse than any headache a hangover can give. Bloody, I'll take a hangover over this any day. A haze begins to fill my vision as black spots dance around the corners of my eyes. Beside me, the detective suddenly moves, shouting a name I don't quite hear, and then... In the next second he falls, down on his knees, desperately trying to keep himself up with what strength he has left. But eventually, his own body caves in. Taking the horrified Lily down with him, muttering quietly to her as something directly red flows from his body. Blood? This man isn't supposed to be dead yet. He isn't supposed to... I didn't shoot him. I'm sure of it. So what killed him? What in bloody blazes is going on here? Is it so wrong to just want a quiet night where nothing needs attending to? Just one normal night? Quietly. Everything has turned crazy with peerless happenings that are hard to explain. But it seems that, when it comes to me, death is always around the corner. I want to look him over. This is going to cause more problems. All this screaming and crying for a detective who's died for no apparent reason is giving me a migraine. Nice caring dude. I need to get all these people out of my house, one way or another. But in the blurry mess of my vision, none of this registers enough to compel my body to move. Nothing does. Except for the voice unexpectedly ringing above the discord, and when I finally gather the strength to look up, everything falls away into the background, and all that matters is her.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool.
Hannah? You're not supposed to be here.
For a moment, I wonder if it had been me who had died and not her. After all, that can be the only logical explanation as to why I hardly draw breath while she stands there. Of course, another logical explanation would be that I'm high and this is a really, really bad trip. Either reason doesn't suit me. Though it can't very well be the former. Even from down here, I can see the blood that stains her dress. Seeing that makes me feel as if my hands are covered in them once more. Warm and sticky, sweet and sickly.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. You look so upset. Are you not happy to see me?
But let's be honest here. Any explanation, any reason as to why a dead woman walks once more is a bad one to me, especially when it's one that I've killed. I mean, how even?
How can this be? You're...
Do you not find my presence desirable anymore, my love?
What sort of sick joke is this?
Tell me what's wrong, my dear prince. Does my presence leave you so speechless?
She says with a smile on her face, tiff and forced. A dead body's parts doesn't seem as malleable as they would be on a living human. She takes a step forward, and her movements are stiff and choppy, like a corpse being forced into position despite the rigor mortis, like the corpse that she should be. I find my voice once more when she takes a careful step forward. Just the thought of that thing approaching just makes my skin crawl. She stops to listen, fixated on my voice and on my words.
No, you're not. You're not supposed to be here. You can't be here. You're dead.
Then I killed you is left unsaid, considering present company.
And I have returned.
She says that so nonchalantly.
For you.
Run!
You don't have to do this. You can still have it all, Luke. Just please, don't you love me? We would have been so beautiful.
I can still hear her pleas as she begs me not to be rid of her. Not once have I forgotten this particular crime of my own. No matter how much I wash my hands, I can still see her blood on them. She's dead. That is an irrefutable fact, and nothing short of the devil would bring her back.
Why are you acting this way, my love? Does this not make you happy?
I feel like there's something lodged in my throat, and my heart feels like it's being sat on with how tight my chest feels.
Of course I'm happy to see you again, Hannah. Of course I love you, Hannah. But how do I know you're... How do I know you're you, darling?
Whatever do you mean? You look perturbed. Why not come here? I can make you feel better.
Nope. If by act of some malevolent god she was back, I don't think she would take too kindly to what I've done to her. This certainly isn't what I would expect. Not that fixated gaze of these loving words. There is no accusation in them, no anger, when Hannah has every right to look at me so. My guilt is overshadowed by the oddity of these illogical circumstances.
No, stay where you are, stay back! Don't go near me! Don't touch me!
It is that rejection which turns her expression absolutely fearsome, and everything turns to complete and utter shite. Oh God. To his horror, Hannah, or what used to be her when she was alive, reached out for him, calling him to come to her side. Terrified, Luke recoiled. It was then that the whole house shifted before his eyes. Hana's body shudders and shakes, as if she was about to have a seizure, until her visage ripples and changes. Oh, I can see it. Whoa, trippy. Golden yellow hair is slowly staining with inky black, and her face melts into that of the woman, the maid from before, with a menacing expression on her face. Along with it is the shifting of the very ground we stand on. It is a slow thing, a whisper, more than a bang, as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan. Blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down to the walls, and stains the floor. It feels as if life itself is being sucked from the house slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it is just the foyer that's become this nightmarish place. I can already hear it. Gone are the growling of the thunder and the lashings of the rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it has been replaced by a more grating sound. A canopy of voices from nowhere and everywhere, echoing throughout the now horrid walls. Voices that neither belong to us nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. Even Daisy, feisty woman that she is, trembles at the sight of it, clinging desperately to Lily and Steele, who stands protectively in front of the two. I suppose it only makes sense for the man to take on the role when their friend is gone. Something to hold onto when there seems to be no end in sight of this insanity. I guess if he was gone, they'd be looks like they would be holding hands, those two. Rebecca and Isabella. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning of the end.
Help me! Oh my god! Please, somebody! Anybody! Who are you? Stay away! No. Stay away! Stay away!
Mother of God, pray for us sinners.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
that's Ash's voice. Their screams fill the mansion. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. Until there is nothing but silence, her horrid smile and pale hands reaching out to me. Calling. Beckoning. Pleading. I'm terrified. I really am. I should be. But I have never been one to truly stay afraid. I've long learned that fear will not get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe and will only keep me alive. Not like rage does. I've learned to use this burning hate inside of me to survive. There's no difference now.
Stay away from me!
Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord. Remember the blood you shed.
The very same one that now taints this house, along with many others.
I did not do this, you lie! I did nothing!
What of her then? Your wife? Your sunshine? Doesn't her blood already stain these halls? Stain your hands?
Then, Hana's really... You're the one who... You killed her. Your own wife!
She's lying!
The words sound so familiar. Just a few days ago, I've spouted the same ones at that vile woman who ruined everything, if it weren't for that Munter, that harlot. But it's no use. The seed has already been planted in their heads. Defending myself, especially against the likes of him, is pointless. Bloody hell, even Daisy's now looking at me with the same revolting stares people have given me once they know of my dirt.
So it's true then? With Hannah? Hannah, Luke?
I don't know what she's talking about. Are you that gullible, Daisy? Do you really believe the words of a murderer? She killed your friend over there.
Now you deny it. Pointing fingers, aren't we? You see, my love, no difference. No difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes? Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
She, the monster, reaches out again, her hands a gory, abhorrent sight. Along with that, smile spread across her face. My body already moving on instinct, stumbling back, one step at a time in a desperate bid to be away from her. Anything to put distance between me and this vile creature. No matter what she says, I am nothing like her. I need to get out of this house. Out of this country, preferably. There's nothing for me here, not anymore. Nothing to keep me tied to this place. With Hannah gone, Shrokin likely taken by this woman as well, nothing's left to bind me into this wretched city. I can leave. I can... My foot steps on something, sending me sliding onto my back and the flat on the floor. Beside me a paper, the familiar one, flutters down. It's this thing again, from the open house, though it feels like a gimmick and more like a threat with the recent events. But it must have fallen from the detective in the commotion earlier. And with its owner having died a gruesome death, now it simply bears its equally grisly message for everyone in the room to see. Help me. Help me. Help me. Is this it? What they've been telling us? Why everything in my life has gone to shite? Because of some stupid old letter. An invitation indeed. One I am not willing to accept. Not at any time. At the top of the stairs, the creature moves again, drawing my attention back to her. Her gait remains slow and awkward as she walks forward, that smile now never leaving her. But I don't. I will give her the chance. I am not dying here. Adrenaline kicks in, and despite panicked grasps and worried glances from Daisy's friends, I pay them no mind as I reach for the main door and, without warning, the door slams open, revealing not the mansion grounds like I am expecting. Before my mind can even comprehend what's happening, black tendrils have already coiled tightly around my limbs, dragging every person in the foyer into the room. None of us even get to scream when the darkness completely envelops us upon the doors closing.
Understand where your place is now, my love. You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.